The cold metal of the wheelchair had long since become a part of her existence. For over a decade, Princess Yara of the Vraekis Dominion had known nothing but immobility, her lower limbs rendered useless by a congenital defect that no Vraekis technology could remedy. Though her people were among the most advanced in the galaxy, their understanding of neural repair was limited. To them, she was a burden, a royal figurehead, incapable of standing on her own. The Vraekis were a proud and warlike species, their culture built on strength, honor, and combat prowess. A ruler who could not stand, much less fight, was an embarrassment to the throne. Many among the royal court had whispered that she should abdicate, that she was unworthy. Even her father, the emperor, though he loved her, had resigned himself to the fact that she would never be more than a caged bird. Then the humans arrived. It was a diplomatic mission, one of many since the Vraekis had made uneasy peace with the Terran Federation. Among the delegation was Dr. Elias Carter, an expert in cybernetic prosthetics. At first, he had only been invited to observe, but when he saw Yara, something in him stirred, a challenge, a possibility. Where the Vraekis saw an irreparable defect, he saw potential. "You don't have to stay in that chair," he told her one evening, as they watched the twin moons rise over the imperial gardens. She had laughed bitterly. "There is no cure for me, human. My people have tried everything." Elias had only smiled. "Your people aren't human." For months, he worked tirelessly, designing and constructing what the Vraekis never could, a pair of cybernetic legs that would integrate seamlessly with her nervous system. They were sleek, powerful, and more advanced than anything the Dominion had ever seen. Yet the greatest challenge was not the technology itself but convincing Yara to trust him. "What if they fail?" she asked, fear creeping into her usually hardened voice. Elias knelt before her, placing a reassuring hand on hers. "Then we try again. And again. Until you walk, until you run, until you stand before your people and show them what strength truly means." The first time she stood on her new legs, silence filled the grand hall. The court had gathered, their skepticism evident, their doubt palpable. She trembled, unsteady, her breathing shallow. Then, with a deep breath, she took a step. And another. And another. The room erupted into chaos. Some gasped in shock, others shouted in disbelief. But one voice silenced them all. Her father, the emperor, stood from his throne, his eyes wide with something she had never seen before, pride. "My daughter," he declared, his voice heavy with emotion, "stands." In the weeks that followed, she trained relentlessly. The cybernetic legs were not just a means of mobility, they were a gift of strength, of power. She sparred with the mightiest warriors of her people, and though she stumbled at first, she adapted. She learned. Soon, she was not just standing, not just walking, she was fighting. When the neighboring Zorith clans launched an unexpected assault on the Dominion, it was Yara who led the charge. She, who had once been dismissed as weak, now fought at the front lines, her cybernetic limbs granting her agility and speed no Vraekis had ever possessed. She was a blur of motion, her strikes precise, her movements relentless. The Zorith never stood a chance. When the battle ended, and the Vraekis forces emerged victorious, none could deny the truth any longer. Yara was no longer just a princess, she was a warrior, a leader, a symbol of resilience. And beside her stood Elias, the human who had given her a future. As she looked at him, she saw not just a scientist, but a friend. Perhaps something more. "You changed my life, Elias," she said quietly. He grinned. "No, princess. You changed your own."